Fans were able to detect a harsh undertone in the WNBA's rhythm for weeks, despite the broadcast's attempts to mask it. The touch appeared rougher, and the pace felt heavier. There was a competitive tension in the air every night as Caitlin Clark took the court. Clark was subjected to a lot of tough play, including late contact at the rim, hip checks coming off screens, forceful bumps during transitions, and sharp fouls that accumulated possession after possession. The silence felt louder than any whistle as the league office avoided the discussion and remained silent. Fans noticed right away, social media lit up, analysts acknowledged it briefly on shows, then moved on. The topic hovered, never fully addressed, never fully dismissed, and that tension became part of every game Clark played. The unspoken message was clear: handle it yourself. Welcome to the league. That tone lingered longer than expected, stretching week after week until the silence finally broke, not because the WNBA intervened, but rather because the loudest voices in basketball decided they had had enough. Steph Curry spoke, LeBron James, and Luka Doncic. NBA champions with international platforms weighed in one after another, and that in and of itself changed the tone of the discussion. This was neither media-friendly critique nor polished praise. It came across as an honest and unfiltered expression of dissatisfaction. People paid attention in a manner they had not previously, and the response spread throughout the sport from Seattle to South Beach. NBA players typically keep their opinions to themselves. This is a repost. There was a slight nod. Then resume your job. It's uncommon to cross leagues like this. And when it occurs, it indicates that something is wrong enough to warrant attention. These moments fell so hard because of this. During a live television interview, Pascal Siakam went one step further and posed a safe, superficial question about which athletes were now getting the most love. He pointed straight at Caitlin Clark, ignoring a lengthy list of NBA players. He clarified that it is impossible to overlook the degree of support that surrounds her. The most important thing was the way he presented it. Siakam did not limit her comparisons to players in a different lane or WNBA rookies. He put her next to his all-star teammate and one of the best guards in the league, Tyrese Haliburton, while keeping Clark at the top. That wasn't compassion. That nod was not meant to be promotional. It was an impactful read. And since it shatters a long-standing barrier, that kind of acknowledgement has actual weight. There is no longer any discussion about Clark in a protected category. She's being assessed using the same criteria as top-tier experts. That change shows how far she has come in a remarkably short period of time. Without courting attention, Obi Toppin adds another level. Long speeches and dramatic sound bites are not his strong points. His response was significant since his reputation is based on deeds rather than words. It felt organic, unforced, and based on what players see on the floor every single night. When combined, these instances demonstrate how rapidly Clark has altered the topic of discussion. She didn't wait for approval. She did not gradually come to terms with it. The problem was forced by her game. The answer, the quiet, and the contact all suggest the same reality. Clark overcame an imperceptible barrier that formerly divided expectations and leagues. This is not a charitable endeavor. It's not a hoax. It is acknowledgement obtained with achievement. When this is expressed explicitly by those in positions of authority, it indicates a fundamental change. Caitlin Clark is no longer a novice picking up new skills. She is a focal point that is changing the way the entire sport is presented, talked, and debated. Trae Young's lighthearted challenge wasn't a fleeting moment or online banter. It resulted in peer-level acknowledgement, a subtle indication that Clark's edge, confidence, and release mechanics belong on the same bright stage. This wasn't clickbait. Shooters who are aware of timing, balance, and nerve under duress respected one another. That kind of crossover moment would draw crowds to stadia, and sponsors already recognized the benefits without further explanation. By zooming out, Paul George advanced the discussion. He spoke from the viewpoint of someone who lived the grind rather than focusing on highlight culture. A league constructed piece by piece over decades, with empty gyms, late nights, and little attention. Then a novice shows in and abruptly takes on the role of movement spokesperson. A shift like that irritates people. It is a human. While some players experience pride, others feel marginalized. George did not discount either response. He presented the emotional math of quick transformation in an open and balanced manner. He provided Clark with full praise for her current efforts while honoring the warriors who established the groundwork. And in sports discourse, that balance is uncommon. Because of this, his remarks persisted for longer than a single news cycle and moved from podcast to podcast. When a reporter asked Luka Doncic a straightforward question about his favorite women's basketball player, the same enthusiasm was evident. Luka didn't think twice or hesitate. He went directly to Caitlin Clark. There are no safe diversions or qualifiers. That response held a lot of weight coming from someone whose own ascent altered expectations. Luka uses impact rather than popularity or potential to gauge greatness. He ranked Clark at the top based on what she was doing at the time. That kind of unadorned endorsement speaks more audible than a lengthy discourse. It verifies that she is being assessed similarly to top pros. It's not praise that makes this time stressful. It's contrast. While some stars step sideways, others lean in. Conversation is sparked by the friction created by that distance. In the middle of it all is Clark. She is not waiting for her turn or requesting permission. Her game constantly causes agony because it demands quick reactions and elevation. After years of gradual, brick-by-brick development, the league is now gaining attention at a breakneck pace. Opportunity, wealth, and prominence are brought about by this acceleration, but it also comes bitterness and subdued opposition. Clark's performance is unaffected by any of those. It clarifies the surrounding temperature. This focus isn't fake. It's as natural, motivated by output, self-assurance, and performance under duress. Clark didn't show up as a symbol. She was an issue when she came. Defenses are ineffective, and the story is unavoidable. Young George Donica's and other people's remarks are important because of this. They're not doing cheerleading. They are acknowledged. It is certain that this is not a moment when peers at the highest level speak up. It's a change. Steph Curry made the point very evident. Curry's remarks on shooting are seldom lighthearted. He deconstructed it precisely. The same rate of release. Limitless range. The same flare occurs when things get noisy. He then presented the last layer. She is everything. Curry's endorsement is never arbitrary. His conviction contributed to Jordan P. being a max steel tail and Klay Thompson becoming a superstar. Caitlin Clark's designation as a basketball twin is a legacy. When Jason Tatum gave a brief response to a question about women's basketball, the momentum stalled. A full stop from Wilson. Wilson's domination is undeniable, but it seemed deliberate to ignore Clark. It read more like a strategy than an oversight. When Kevin Durant declared Angel Ree to be his favorite, the same atmosphere ensued. Without a doubt, Ree is skilled. However, the contrast seemed stark when Clark rewrote Records Weekly. The tension was only increased when two powerful voices moved sideways rather than forward. George Paul phoned this time ahead of schedule. More than compliments could, Clark's disruptive influence is shown by the fact that not everyone is at ease with a new order. Take a step back from the argument, and the figures reveal the truth. Even after moving into NBA venues, games continued to sell out. In comparison to the prior season, television ratings increased by over 400%. Products disappeared in a flash. Nike was unable to maintain Iowa Gold on the shelves. Midway through the season, charter planes were authorized since it was no longer acceptable to watch a generational talent go through airport security. Almost quickly, sponsors poured in. Suddenly, companies that had been observing from a safe distance moved quickly, securing partnerships, launching marketing, and changing their tactics to focus on visibility, which could no longer be disregarded. In addition to the media attention, rival players were also taken aback by the way games were presented, advertised, and discussed. This growth curve is neither patient nor gradual. It is abrupt, harsh, and hard to smooth out. Neutrality is never produced by greatness. Every time, it pushes back and divides rooms into belief. This pattern is not new to us. Ask Michael Jordan about his feelings when the league changed suddenly. Ask Serena Williams about the ways in which power elicits both admiration and opposition. Tiger Woods can explain how disruption affects entire sports. And ask LeBron James about the pressure that comes with carrying a movement from all sides. For years, the WNBA demanded genuine dialogue. It pushed, advertised, and bided its time until it could cut through the clutter. Caitlin Clark forced the discussion into the mainstream by kicking the door open and taking the spotlight with her. The same reality was reaffirmed by every cheer, every sold-out venue, and every hard foul. Attention to this is no longer optional. No one is apathetic anymore. Supporters are picking sides. Debates in the media are more audible. In real time, players are responding. The league would never be able to produce such emotional engagement on its own, whether it was tense or positive. The league can modify income sharing, increase marketing, and enhance officiating. However, passion cannot be manufactured. Clark ignited it right away with performances, self-assurance, and events that had to be discussed. Balance is the current challenge. Preserve her well-being without keeping her alone. Honor the veterans who founded the league while maintaining the current pace. Spread the story beyond a single star so that, rather than crumbling under the weight of attention, the entire floor rises with the ceiling. Every team should have access to charter flights. Growth must benefit the entire league, not just the Clark wave, as sustainability relies on collective advancement rather than individual improvements. During the height of LeBron's weariness, the NBA learned this lesson. The pushback became more audible when one athlete was the center of attention. The WNBA has that blueprint now if it chooses to make sensible use of it. No one is becoming the female equivalent of Clark's ceiling. She is emerging as the first Caitlin Clark, a unique combination of elite vision, shooting gravity, and cultural appeal that cannot be duplicated or produced. It is impossible to replicate the blend. Some people rejoice over it. Some people oppose it. Nobody overlooks it. And that is the most obvious indication that a major transformation has occurred. The period of tranquility is over. The league's future is now fixed in her orbit, and the heat is genuine. The league requested energy from the 23-year-old with a lightning-fast release, and she responded with a full blaze that won't go out. The point is that not everyone agrees. Disagreement demonstrates the impact's reality. The center shifted. There is no rewind after that. The WNBA is no longer requesting attention. It is requesting it.